So today, this is the last, session for the conclave. But let me also uh, assure you that this is, of course, not the least of the least important for startup. For startup, if you really look at it, the strength of startup is its product or differentiator in technology or value addition or maybe product philosophy or if it is
Sorry,
a
sorry.
service startup or something like that. So, uh, and this differentiator has to be communicated very succinctly, very clearly, in a very strategic manner, so that there's a space can be created in a customer mind. Yeah, startup has to be customer centric, and then that differentiator or that product positioning has to go very clearly in customers' mind. And if it is adopted as a strategic approach, then eventually it also become kind of a branding for a company or for a startup. Now we all know that, startup hustle quite a bit on their daily life, building their product or getting technology or science right behind their products, or managing their day-to-day resources or raising new resources, so on and so forth. And in the process, actually, they miss out this larger picture of, you know, correct product positioning or branding, creating branding around their startup. That has to start early on, and it goes way below in their priority list. Again, the branding or positioning, there are no set rules. Each product or each segment have their own contextual reference to it, and it has to be built upon as a process. So here is like today two speakers who are very distinguished in their respective field, like healthcare and agrotech. Let's hear from them what exactly customer positioning is done, how it is to be done, what are the right time to go about it, so on and so forth. Yeah. So once again, welcome Pawan and Shubhadeep here. So let me start with you, Pawan. Can you share your thought about what is the criticality or importance of uh, product positioning from early journey of a startup, and how is it different in a healthcare segment?
Thank you, Poini. Pleasure to be with you all. And positioning basically means how the customer sees your product vis-a-vis the competition. So it's a contextual frame. Positioning can be based on different attributes. It can be based on price. It can be based on customer type who's using it. It can be uh, based on other associations. Let me give you one example which will clarify what positioning is and deep positioning is. And let me take it from the general side, and slowly I will go into the specific of healthcare. Why general? So that everybody can understand. Nirma detergent Tikya. This was positioned on economy. So what did the jingle say? Nirma detergent टिकिया इसकी झाग ने जादू कर दिया. 150 ग्राम की टिकिया बड़ा होना इज वन एस्पेक्ट ऑफ इकोनॉमी. फिर भी दामों में किफायती होना इज अनदर फैसेट ऑफ इकोनॉमी. पानी में रहकर भी ये कम गलना इज अनदर एस्पेक्ट ऑफ इकोनॉमी. ढेरों कपड़े धोए और ज्यादा चले, ढेरों कपड़े धोना एंड ज्यादा चलना इज अनदर एस्पेक्ट ऑफ इकोनॉमी. Price positioning deeply and comprehensively achieved. So this is a beautiful example of positioning. When we go to healthcare, the positioning often starts moving to two areas: efficacy and safety. Let me give you two common examples from here. Dettol. In many researches, it has been found that Dettol works not as good as Savlon, but still Dettol sells Savlon much more. much more than Savlon. And one researcher found out the reason is when you add Savlon to water, nothing happens. But when you add Dettol to water, there is a white cloud which comes and customer feels ab mare germs, efficacy. And when we publicized this in one of our books, in one of my books, then the company started taking this point up. So seeing was believing. Efficacy established because of vision. Second point is, let me give you an example of Johnson and Johnson baby oil. Baby oil for babies, very soft, light. What did the ad say? Soft lighting, little baby being massaged, हल्का फुल्का जो फौरन समा जाए, बूंद बूंद समाए त्वचा का पोषण करे. In the first case, Dettol, efficacy was being established by seeing is believing. Here, efficacy is being established by not seeing is believing. बूंद बूंद समाए त्वचा का पोषण करे, देखो हाथों पे कुछ भी नहीं बचा. So, this is what I would like to say, that positioning in the healthcare space moves often to efficacy and safety. Not that there is not price-based positioning or other types of positioning. And it is also very highly based on testimonials. Let me stop here and ask you to come in.
Yeah.
Point.
Yeah, it's a wonderful, like when you give this example of Nirma, Nirma penetrated in the market like when the market was actually dominated by large brand, and it penetrated as a washing powder and not a detergent powder in a low cost segment. So yeah, I relate to what you say, that how you clearly create your positioning around, like your uh, value proposition to the customer. So Shubhadeep, you have been investing in startup, especially in agro domain, and agro domain is also a very wide spectrum. There's food, there are agrotech, weather, and then irrigation, and all kind of things, supply chains, like farm to fork kind of startups and all those things. How do you work with your portfolio company, help them basically create product positioning or emphasizing the need for product positioning from early on from their journey?
Sure. Thank you. Thank you for the question, Poini, and thank you for having me here. I think the tone has beautifully been set by Pawan in terms of taking us through the 101 on positioning. I largely kind of try and restrict this through a few examples, right? So, just for context, we are an investor in startups, right? So for the last decade or so, we've been investing in Indian agri-tech startups and help build the ecosystem to what it is today, which is about 500-600 companies, and a bunch of them being funded, and $500 million odd dollars coming into the space each year as of last year. I think one very important aspect of positioning which startups early on really miss out on, and this is again based on my limited experience, has basically been early on in their journey, they're more focused on getting their technology right, or getting their price points right, or building a team. There are so many things to do in a startup, right? You're practically firefighting every day for a new solution. And in all of that, I think somewhere, your positioning and your product recall kind of goes for a toss. I'll take one example from within our portfolio where we've seen this work very beautifully. There is a company called Dehat. It is basically a farmer's platform. It's a farmer services platform, and it works with today close to 500,000 farmers, largely focused on the eastern states of Bihar, Odisha, Jharkhand, West Bengal, and some parts of Uttar Pradesh. So very small, fragmented landholding farmers, right? the goal for Dehat is fairly simple, right? When they began as a not-for-profit about 7-8 years ago, they just wanted to kind of service farmers, right? Ensure that farmers make more money. And when they turned into a for-profit venture in 2014-15, their goal was to provide all requirements of a farmer under one umbrella, right? Whether it is the requirement for high quality seeds, pesticides, fertilizers, or agricultural inputs, whether it is the need for unbiased advisory, right? Farm level advisory, which is not biased by any company or by any dealer, or whether it is helping smallholder farmers link their produce to markets, right? And this is before farm to fork became like a, like a terminology in that sense. So in a nutshell, all services, that was basically their solution. I think the way they've captured their positioning has been really beautiful. So whenever you go to a Dehat store or a micro entrepreneur who's basically a franchisee owner of Dehat, the branding of the stores, right? It's very subtly done, and the tagline of Dehat reads "From seed to market," right? In vernacular as well. So, beed se bazaar tak, right? Those will basically become, and for that creates a very strong recall with the farming community as well. That okay, for all my needs, right? I can approach this person, I can approach this company, I can approach this call center, I can approach this toll-free number, right? And I think that is fundamentally been there with the founders have ensured that they started doing it, like even with their first center. Today they have more than 1,000 such centers which are out in the field, but even their first center, their first micro entrepreneur had this tagline, had this branding with them. Now, of course, with scale, they've been able to add a lot of visual imagery to it, right? So there's a mascot, which works beautifully in agri, right? When you create mascots, I mean, even today, another use case, I think, which we all study and talk about has been when Mahindra kind of introduced one of their tractors called Sarpanch, right? And Sarpanch means, the village headman in Hindi. And Sarpanch was supposed to be a very powerful tractor in that particular category. And hence, it was also signaling that if you own a Sarpanch, you have that power, you have that dynamism with you. And a very interesting anecdote here was, and I know this because I was part of Mahindra briefly as well, and I have a lot of friends there, was that when Sarpanch was launched, it was a roaring hit, very successful. Then as companies kind of evolved, they looked at, various cost-cutting measures to improve profitability and bring the cost down as well. So there was one image of a pagdi, right, which is a turban, which was on the bonnet of the tractor. So the company decided, okay, this is not really playing a role here. Let's get rid of that small, image there. And I mean, unbelievably so, they started seeing that sales plummeted, right? And sales plummeted. Nobody was able to figure it out. What happened? They appointed a third-party agency a consultant to go take a look as why are Sarpanch sales dropping? The market need is there. Everything is working. What the hell happened? Right? We're reducing prices also. Kya hua? But at the end of 3 months, they came back and said that 600 rupees sticker or 500 rupees sticker is the reason why our sales are dropping. They put it back there, sales went back up. So it's fascinating to see that how small things can also matter, right? And when we look at the whole agri-tech domain, I think it is extremely complex. You have customers ranging from farmers to supply chain participants like traders, retailers, processors, and even end consumers. Each of them think about things very differently. So I guess it's important for companies to at least give some thought in their early days about how they want their company to be perceived vis-a-vis competition.
Interesting.
I would limit it at that right now.
Yeah. Interesting. In fact, taking from your examples, like positioning and branding is equally important for startup or large corporate. It impacts both the segments very, very heavily. If you don't pay attention from earlier, or if you don't pay clear attention or communication to your target audience. So yeah, but See, the thing is that startup works with very, very frugal resources, right? And you only mentioned that they do really firefighting on their product development or managing resources and all those stuff. Yeah. Many times they also don't appreciate or they don't understand the uh, relation to the cross functional. So while you are working on product or building a product and technology, it has to connect with some kind of marketing to reach out to your customer or create visibility in customers mind. uh, so they like miss paying attention to that, or sometimes they don't understand also. They see that it's way below, time to market is very long, so why to get into spend resources out there. Yeah. Second thing is that branding is also like perceived as kind of a expensive exercise, which actually that's a perception. But if you do product positioning strategically, which can actually generate a brand value for the company, appreciation for that fact has also to be understood by the startups in that sense. So, and instead they indulge, based on their target audience, they indulge into some catchphrases or taglines or punchlines or something like that, right, to convey that differentiator. My question to both of you, and maybe Shubhadeep, you can start with, and then even Pawan can also address this issue. Is it really getting product positioning right, or building a brand, not in terms of advertisement or whatever it is, but is it really a resource consuming exercise? That's one thing. And second thing is that for biotech industry, like any sub segment of biotech industry, time to market is pretty long, right? So what is the right time, and how do you, because there are like very specific set of customers also. So how do you, what is the time of basically strategizing about product position in a very, very corporate strategy manner, and how do you go about it without consuming too many resources? Yeah, your thought.
So, if I may, I think again in our 25, 26 odd investments, the thing we've learned about, I think, product positioning, and the activities which you mentioned, whether it's branding or communication, are an outcomes based on what you want to really convey as a product or as a service. I think for that, I think the successful startups, or the ones which really are more, I think, successful in the sense that they've been able to scale and have retention, have been the ones which gave this much more thought earlier in the day. Now, I think I'd like to draw a distinction there. Very often, you're 100% right. Very often, people confuse marketing and branding with just above the line kind of spending, right? ATL activities and all. Especially in the agri-tech space, you're either working with farmers, right, or you're either working with any of the other participants in the chain. Reaching out to that audience is not expensive, right? I would definitely think that startups need to find, and today we're talking about the digital era where even farmers are online, even traders are online, right? You have them, you have WhatsApp groups, you have YouTube groups, you have Facebook groups. Everybody is available online. People are consuming more content online. It is cheaper to reach out to people, right? Today. So I think startups very early on need to start doing that. I think the ones which have been really successful in doing that are the ones where the founders, right? The startup is basically a reflection of how the founders are, right? And at least in its initial 1 or 2 years, 3 years of journey, it's basically the founder's DNA, which is then extrapolated into a vision. I think for companies where the founders are extroverts, where the founders have a natural flair for storytelling, right, they do think about these aspects. And the ones where the founders are much more, and this is not to take away anything from anyone, this is just an observation, and the ones where founders are much more obsessed about only the technicality or only the product and not the product market fit, right? Those are where generally this gets deprioritized. So I would strongly say that even if you're an unfunded startup, even if you are start thinking about these aspects, there are so many ways of reaching out and building out your own positioning, even in very low cost manner, right? Whether you're doing BTL activities, that is cheap. Generally, in your initial days, word of mouth is your best friend, right? So try and capitalize that heavily. Use testimonials really, really smartly to get you that buzz in your target segment. And I think, in terms of even within agri, there are things which are much more amenable to such branding related activities, whether you're, so for example, I'll give an example of a company called Bijak. Now Bijak is a trader's platform, right? It's a mobile first trading platform where traders can discover other traders in different markets. So if you're a trader in a certain market, you possibly are working with 7, 8, 10 people in your network. So how can you discover more people? It's like an Amazon where you're suddenly discovering more and more sellers and buyers, right? The only difference is here you're actually dealing with agricultural produce. So it's essentially a trust building platform, right? It's a platform where the other party is a certified person. It's a real person who has a real interest, has done KYC and all of that. So as a platform for Bijak, it was very important to build trust with its users, right? And as a result, they relied heavily on word of mouth. Most of their users are basically people who were referrals, right? I use it. I tell my cousin who's also a trader in some other state that अरे भाई use कर बहुत lead मिलते हैं. That is how it spread really virally. So I think, and they cumulatively would have spent less than 10-15 lakh rupees on branding and marketing so far, right? So I think the concept that advertising is very expensive, I think that's largely restricted to B2C kind of environments, and I guess we will chat about that in detail. But generally in agri-tech, it's not the case. In some long tail, I think companies, and I'll defer to Pawan's opinion here more, because in agri biotech, whatever limited we have seen, I think genuinely nobody really thinks about product positioning because of the long tail development cycle involved. That's just been our learning here.
Sure. So Pawan, over to you. In fact, I think there is one question also, and you can also answer in what you addressed, is that some example, would love to hear some examples and advice for software or AI platform targeted towards clinical community. So when you talk about healthcare, and then when do they start and what are the way to go about it, you can also address this particular question.
Sure. So taking off from the point which both of you mentioned, Peony and Subhadeep, that it is very important that the branding and the marketing piece is given as much importance as the technology piece. I am reminded of a couplet which says, खुशबुओं को फैलने का शौक है मगर, खुशबुओं को फैलने का शौक है मगर मुमकिन नहीं हवाओं से रिश्ता किए बगैर. मतलब आप टेक्नोलॉजी तो ले आए, लेकिन वो फैलेगी तब जब आपका ब्रांडिंग और मार्केटिंग से रिश्ता होएगा. ब्रांडिंग एंड मार्केटिंग इज द हवा on which the fragrance will spread. So I fully endorse what you're saying, and also what Subhadeep said, that with limited money also, you can do a lot, and you have to know where to spend it.
Right.
So there are many examples like that, and I will not go into specific examples unless something is very remarkable. There are books available. So if you want to understand positioning, you read Trout and Rise. If you want to understand healthcare marketing and advertising, you read my book. But there are many others. 101 courses should be conducted by organizations, by institutes like IIT Kanpur, IIT Mumbai. You should conduct 101 courses. I like that phrase which Subhadeep just used. cheap consultants are available, because where you will spend that limited money will be dependent on your knowledge of the marketing and branding spectrum. If your knowledge is wrong, then what you will do, you will come out with some catchphrase or some tagline and you will think this is marketing. This is nothing. This is not even the surface of the iceberg of marketing. It's not even the tip. So, in digital world today, there is a term called elevator pitch. So I'll tell you what was the first elevator pitch. The first elevator pitch was made by Otis himself. Otis, the discoverer of elevators, he realized that he has made this product, elevator, safety elevator, which if it goes into a free fall has catches which hold it, does not allow it to fall. Otherwise, elevators used to just fall and hugely injure people within. So when they were going into a free fall. So he realized he has run out of money. So what he did, he gathered a huge crowd around that elevator assembly, went up in that elevator, and then told them, now I will go into a free fall by, and took an axe and cut the cable. And everybody felt now he will die, but the elevator held on. So now there is this first time this elevator pitch was made by Otis. Today there is a Twitter pitch. There are people available with money, and this is an impact sector. Healthcare is an impact sector where funds are available. In fact, I have myself brought in so much investments in these sectors, and I'm sure Subhadeep, as he said, he has brought it in agri-tech, etc. So the money is available. You need to have the vision to tap it correctly. That is one. Second point is you're saying the positioning as a corporate strategy. How positioning evolves. So let me give you an example.
So, Pawan, let me also actually add one particular dimension here, and you can address both the things together. Products also actually evolve over a period of time. Yeah. So, and especially biotech and time to market is so long and it keeps on evolving, it keeps on changing, or new features are added or new value propositions are added and all those things. So, again, if you can pose, when is a very critical, how in backdrop or context with the continuous evaluation of the process, product, how you create.
Yeah, I get your point. So I'm reminded of this beautiful example which I mentioned in one of my books also. This was about, and this is a general example, and then I'll take it to healthcare. This was about Hero Honda. When Hero Honda came, it was sold on the economy positioning. Fill it, shut it, forget it. 80 kilometers to a liter. Okay, this was the positioning. Fill it, shut it, forget it. After a few years, this became very popular, and there was soon 900,000 bikes on the road. And the advertiser very clearly realized new buyers are not just buying it because of an advertisement anymore. They go to existing users of the bike. So they dropped that positioning, kept it as a part of it, but main positioning was Aapka Shandar Humsafar Hero Honda. You've got a good thing going. Shandar Savari, kya baat hai, Samajhdari ki purchase, etc. Giving words to existing users to talk about their bike when that new prospective customer comes. Positioning is changing with time, you see. Then came another brand from their stable which was called Hero Puck. Hero Puck was a smaller bike. Okay. Now then a moped. There were no buyers of that. There were no users of that at that time. So here they are saying 900,000 on the bikes on the road, etc. Here there is no bike on the road. Who will the customer go to check? So what did they say? They went beyond positioning. They changed the frame of reference by which, what did they say? They said, Amir Khan comes in the ad and says, अकेले होती है हर नई शुरुआत, जब शक्ति हो अपने पास तो जमाना देगा साथ, शुरू करिए purchase, and something like that, So you're getting the point. The behavior was this. They are now changing that behavioral schema. Behavioral schema was to buy the bike after checking with existing users. There are no existing users. So you are now saying, making a pioneer out of the first purchaser of the bike by saying, अकेले होती है हर नई शुरुआत. So at different stages, products require different types of positioning. Disprin was marketed as an analgesic. But after some time, people realized that Disprin also works as a blood thinner. So they brought in Disprin in a smaller dose as a blood thinner. So that is a new product. And that also did very, very well. So समय के साथ साथ हमारी पूरी advertising or marketing strategy should change, and you brought in a very good concept here, and we should be alert to that.
Yeah.
Gauri.
Thank you very much. Actually, you're right that every evolution, but is it possible to create some fundamental message around the product, which can become a long-term punchline or headmast for the company? While product can you have any example for that? That company has retained its core philosophy as it is, while the product or maybe even design could have changed, but then core philosophy has remained in the head. So starting that positioning on philosophy of for a product or company becomes so critical that it remains a long term. So would you have any example to share? Or
Yeah, in terms of corporates, for example, Gillette.
yeah.
Gillette says the best a man can get. They've got a very good line. The best a man can get is for male razors and shaving creams or whatever they make. But also the best a man can get is good for the employees. The best a place a man can get, the best a man can get. Pfizer has bringing science to life. Okay. However, consistency today is found is not as important as contemporary relevance. So, if something which I have had for very long, I cannot only retain it because of my historical affection to it.
Right.
It should be contemporary also, which is why you see that many products are in different life stages changing their positioning and not hesitating today to stick to the same line as positioning as they said earlier. Corporate lines can still remain the same.
Right. So this was precisely the point that I basically want to, emphasize upon, that every stage of your journey you require some positioning, and this is something different than just a tagline or elevator pitch. Yeah. So thank you very much. I think there is also one very obvious question that audience would like to know, even I would like to ask about positioning for B2B segment or B2C segment. It's so different. And sometimes, I remember when we talk to our startup going creating some kind of branding, even when we see that they are growing, product is already launched and all those things. The argument is that B2B, my customer know me, why should I go on social media or create a larger campaign around it and all those stuff. So how the point here is that there are different ways to reach out for your customer segment in a sustained manner. And would you like to elaborate? And from each of you, I would like to have this viewpoint.
Let Shubhadeep go first.
Sure. I'll try and take an attempt there. So I think in the B2B environment, again, I'm deep diving into agrotech, into agtech. Most of the most of the startups which end up working B2B are either working with larger agribusinesses. So you're working with, let's say, an ITC, you're working with an Olam, you're working with an Mahindra or what have you. And for that, to that extent, I think most B2B startups realize that it's more of kind of trade marketing that you need to achieve. You of course, it is very relationship driven. That goes without saying. But at the same time, you do need a larger recognition because and one way where people have basically been doing that, I think, as startups also, are to do very like sectoral or thematic intellectual property. So, for example, I can talk about, let's say, a company called AgNext, which basically is in the food quality assessment space, does rapid food quality assessment across physical, chemical parameters. Now, with the food adulteration, which is a very consumer-focused problem, but their customer is actually a dairy company, right, which would want their milk to be unadulterated. So while they're talking about what they do, typically is they'll do a webinar, right, and they'll call multiple people, right, from regulators to other companies to small cooperatives, FPOs, everyone, and talk about their problems, and then maybe give a slight signal to their solution that okay, this is what we're doing. Also, I think newsletters and all of these things are a very important factor when you're thinking B2B. How do you talk to a larger universe of potential customers, but don't make it about a sales pitch every time, right? I think that's a very subtle and important thing to do, that every time a customer or potential customer does not want to hear a sales pitch or a pricing pitch from you. Tell them ki industry mein naya kya hai. Give them some thought leadership, right? I think that becomes a very interesting way of doing B2B inroads into your customer segment, at the same time building up a community, right? I think that is the right word here. In B2C, again, I think that requires a lot more firepower. It also requires more tools today, because B2C is, again, like on your phone, on your tablet. If you're going into a store, it's there in physical person as well. You have to define, your TG very, very rigorously, and it is again slightly more expensive, right? You might have to give discounts initially. So those are some of the elements which I think make people slightly wary. And we've seen this with our startups as well, that the ones which are B2C in nature, they don't really start spending truly on marketing and branding till they've reached a certain stage in terms of their own product maturity or sales or profitability numbers, and then they're ready to, okay, now I can spend. And even if they do spend, they're probably doing pilots which are under the radar, which are in small geographies, and learning from those as to how do we do them better. But like a mass scale campaign of sorts, those only happen once they've certainly reached a scale. So that's kind of my limited point here.
Sure. Pawan?
Yeah. So I will just add a bit to that and then go to a couple of questions which you have pointed me towards, Peony. So, in my view, the healthcare piece was largely a B2B piece. Why? Because who are you selling the healthcare product to? 70% of that is going to hospitals. And out of the balance 30% also, most of it is going to directly to doctors, the marketing. And doctors are also MSMEs. Their clinics are MSMEs. So it is a B2B piece, largely. However, over-the-counter medicine and point-of-care diagnostics, over-the-counter medicine, you understand. And point-of-care diagnostics is, for example, the glucose, blood glucose monitor, the BP instrument which comes, which you keep at home. For this, the advertising has also started happening B2C for this sector. Plus, of course, now the Flipkarts of the world are also coming into, or their new avatars are coming into this sector. So B2C piece is also coming. On all other points, I agree with Shubhadeep. This was my addition from a healthcare perspective. Coming to one of the questions is there any unified platform similar to Amazon for biotech industry in the India or globally? Yes, there is Medica Bazaar, there is ArcnaMed, and there are platforms like that, and they've got very solid funding. Um, Also, there are organizations like Medical Technology Association of India, which I chair, which also are active in guiding companies into these spaces. Another question is product positioning and branding is also important for the program schemes launched by government agencies in order to ensure that the actual people required are the ones who apply. Very good point. The government also has to learn marketing. Government also has to, as Subhadeep said, one-to-one relationship has to be there between governments and businesses. 2 centuries ago, Napoleon pointed towards UK and said, "Let us defeat this nation of shopkeepers from France," he said. What he meant by that? He meant that these shopkeepers was a bad term. Businessman was a small thing, was a little shopkeeper. Who were the powerful people in the society? The general and the bureaucrat. The general because he was plundering land and getting more land, and bureaucrat because he was distributing and administering. That time, all over the world, US, Europe, China, India, bureaucrats were at the highest level. Bureaucrats and politicians and generals. However, things have changed today. The economic man is also on the table. And the social utility of the economic man through his innovation and through his employment generation potential is becoming evident. So it is very important that the government has to market its programs and also sell its programs in a humble manner. So one of my friends who has invested 1,200 crores in a state, I was sharing with him, he was sharing with me why I went to this state. Can you believe it what he said? He said government has a Make in India program. But who's the marketer for Make in India program? When I speak to a bureaucrat, and if he is not one of the enlightened bureaucrats, he and I are of the same age, and I call him sir, he will call me maximum some G. If I by chance call him Mr., he will start calling me by my second name. He will start addressing me Chaudhary. Okay? So, I don't want to go there. So, I have gone to a state where the industry minister, who's same age as me, we are on first names. So, I can bring the worldwide head also here, and I can bring my team also, and we can interact very easily and effortlessly without having to bend to somebody who actually needs my help. So very good point, very good question, and I think we should clap on this question that the government also, and I really respect the Prime Minister. I had a 2-hour meeting with him at his home earlier this year. He understands this, but the entire bureaucracy and the political space has to understand that there has to be not only marketing reform, but also administrative reform in the way people behave. The enlightened ones already know this. I'm talking about the ones who require this training so that man-to-man interaction relationship, which Subhadeep said, can be formed between the government and the businesses also.
Yeah. So I think we are pretty much, we are already 1 minute beyond our scheduled time, but we have still 1 or 2 questions. I don't know. Amita, you have to help me. Can we take it or we close it?
Ma'am, you can cover those questions.
Okay. So one question is that how does one go with frugal option for medical device? That's one thing you partially covered, Pawan, but if you can even give some example, that would be helpful. Otherwise, give your point on that. And Subhadeep, you can address this what are the best technique for organic marketing with very limited resources? That you also covered, but you can again emphasize as a closing point. Yeah.
Okay, so Shobhadeep, you go first.
All right. I think um, some of the additional things one can do for organic, I would say, marketing or brand building is to basically take referrals very, very strongly and from day one. Right? I think there is nothing as powerful even today as a customer validating that your product is working. And um, also in your initial days of sales, try and see if you can do more than one sale with the same person. Right? Can there be a recurring nature of sale which you can do if you're a B2B tech company, or even if you're B2C? Can you at least start measuring those very, very easily from day one? I think that is important because later on it's going to help you build out that trust with other people, right? Um, the second piece I think is to also look at um, more kind of digital media channels, whether you're looking at Insta, whether you're looking at, again, depending on who your TG is. If you want to get hold of a farmer, chances are Insta is still a few years ahead. But can you really get into all of the farmer groups which are there on YouTube? Yes, you can. Can you connect with them and probably talk about your product there? Yes, you can. And those are pretty frugal means as well. I think also partnering with other companies and other startups are a great way of putting your product out there. This is one thing which I don't see enough in the ecosystem today, right? Everyone is building in their own isolation. There might be 10 other people who are building the same thing and trying to hit at the same market, and everyone will end up losing, or burning through a lot of capital. So I think try and see if you can collaborate with others. You're in one geography, collaborate with somebody who's in the other geography, and do a cross, right? You take their products there, you ensure your products are reaching there. So I think that is the other very good old trusted business way of actually ensuring that you're able to spread out faster and in a much more cheaper manner.
Okay.
Great points. And because you went first, I realized later that I have got more time to think about it. But I will only add to what you have said. Great points made, Subhadeep. So I feel digital natives of the type who would be there in both these IITs, IIT Mumbai and IIT Kanpur, should be very strongly there on all the social media handles. In fact, the day you start learning how to operate the laptop or the smartphone, you should have these handles. One company in which I'm invested, we have taken it to a multi-million-dollar valuation only because of webinars through COVID. Very high quality webinars we have done. Very top level audience we have got, all promoters and CXOs. And the valuation within just 6 months has moved, which had plummeted from a good figure, has now again moved to a multi-million-dollar valuation just on the strength of the webinars. Then my bigger question is why? One is, of course, frugality. Subhadeep has already said, I have also added some points. But why do we need to be frugal in the space which is extremely vital for our survival? I think the systemic problem is somewhere else. If an IIT engineer comes out with a good product and he doesn't get the funding, then he should look at the 3 G's of fundraising: geography, genre, and gene. Whether he has gone to the investor who invests in that genre, that means venture capitalists or angel investors at that stage, if that is the stage he's going for. That genre, that gene, whether he's investing in medical devices, biotech, etc., or not. And thirdly, whether he's investing in this Indian geography or not. Many a time, we do not do that And that not doing that research and moving fast costs us a lot of possibility of having got an investor and then not having the money to invest in a vital piece like marketing. So before you go for marketing, you should also see whether you have the wherewithal to get the resources to market or to get an investor on favorable terms, not so that he completely comes and asphyxiates you. Some good investor like Shubhadeep should be good.
Yeah. Thank you very much. But yeah, I think we are about to close that. But just to, a counterpoint to your point here was basically that why you have to go frugal, even if startup has a very strong product or whatever it is in early stage because of past track record or whatever, or investor has a different mindset when they invest. At times good products don't end up getting funding, but yeah, I take up from this thing that there are ways to, even you don't have resources, there are ways to at least create visibility around social media, or going to various events and end up talking to the right set of people, or be part of the community of your target audience. So just to give one example and we can close here, is that we have a company, nothing to do with this domains, but we have a company which is selling bots. It's very difficult to create an ad campaign around bots because so many people are doing that, right? Now, how do you build the trust in your company? And this company basically is working heavily, writing blogs and answering Quora and every digital platform. They founder has been writing some or the other stuff. And right now, every large bank or finance company or insurance company is their client. So this is the way you can create visibility around it. I think don't ignore the power of social media when it comes to create branding. Product positioning early on is very, very important. That will actually lead to, building some brand around that. And it's like this, right? 3 decades back, you would have asked that why do I need website? Yeah, but now everyone, it's your core identity here. I think there's no question to ask why do I need to be on social media. By default you have to be on social media. With this note, I'll end here. Over to you, Aditi.
I just wanted to add one small point to that point. I feel truth comes out when friends debate. So one of the debates which we should do sometime offline is on this piece, that why do some people not get funded even when they have a good product? So my last 30 seconds of advice is to the community is read Daniel Pink's book, To Sell is Human. And secondly, also understand what luck is and how to manufacture luck. You will get information on that in one of my books, How a Good Person Can Really Win. And there is other material also available. Just this is not a sales pitch. This is to make sure that those people who are having a good product find their investors.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all. I think you have done justice by explaining the importance of product positioning and branding, because how, when, and where we position our product in the market can make a lot of difference. It was a very lively and candid session by all of you. I would like to thank all 3 of you for joining the talk today. Thank you very much.
Thank you.